Japan, shaking off the lethargy of centuries, has taken her rank among the civilized modern powers. Theodore Roosevelt.
Steel and soldiers, centralization and conquest. As Japan, the solitary islands in the Pacific underwent a renovation of their military, economy, political structure, and role in international affairs, a formation of respect and esteem towards Eastern cultures emerged. The expansive development of industrialization from Western to non-Western countries enabled Japan to become an international contender of imperialism by rapidly westernizing and defeating the largest contiguous empire on Earth, the European Russia, and placing the Japanese islands in the Far East at the mutually respected table of modern world empires. During the 19th century, European industrialization expanded in the cities of England. Great Britain and other colonial empires had the advantage of pre-established financial institutions of banking that facilitated loans. It also had high rates of urbanization, caused by such matters as the Enclosure Acts. Prevalent industries included agriculture, textiles, and steel production. With such thriving economies, it became possible for European powers to afford commercial ventures overseas. This increasing need for resources and trading areas started what would eventually be known as the Age of Imperialism. Meanwhile, the Japanese nation was experiencing a fundamental change in its characteristic identity. Once an isolationist nation of feudalism under the Tokugawa shogunate, Japan emerged as an imperialist power driven by policy alterations of the young Emperor Meiji. Formally, Japan had formed a non-compliant strategy toward international trade and Western influence. Contained by their borders, the emperor lost his supremacy to the feudalistic chain of power known as the Tokugawa shogunate. With multiple lords or a daimyo, each controlling a large parcel of land, it was common for many minor civil wars to occur between the military of each feudal lord. Additionally, agriculture and other forms of domestic trade served as the sole source of economics outside of the limited Chinese trade and very few Dutch ships a year to the port of Nagasaki. However, in 1854, with the unannounced arrival of Commodore Matthew Perry in the U.S. Navy, the shogunate was forced to absolve the procedures of trade restriction in the Treaty of Kanagawa. The lands of Asia had become the stomping ground of Western powers. By the time Japan was forcibly opened to the outside world, China, Indochina, India, and Manchuria had already been carved into territorial spheres of influence by Germany, France, Britain, and Russia. China had become a largely dismembered country, leashed to several different empires through strategic advantages to military action and a dependency of such socio-economic acts of domination as the foreign regulation of the opium trade. With a mutilated political landscape and a people looked down upon by many Westerners, China would become one of the key motivational points for the rapid reform of the Japanese government. In 1868, the chain of Japanese emperors reclaimed the power from the Tokugawa shogun, the Great General of Japan, through the actions of political and militant elites to restore the emperor to power in the Boshin War. The Tokugawa regime lost its foothold upon the nation. This restoration of imperial power, while bringing about a return to the former political system, brought deep-seated changes to the country's political scene. The young emperor, Mutsuhito, seized military power from the shogun and claimed as his own the name of Meiji, or enlightened ruler, with his motto, "Enrich the nation, strengthen the military." High-ranking officials of the new government were commissioned to travel to and report on the modern bureaucracies, technology, and ideas of Western European nations. The Charter Oath of 1868, one of the first documents created by the Meiji oligarchy, stated the goals for a new society.
By this oath, we set up as our aim the establishment of the national weal on a broad basis and the framing of a constitution and laws. 1. Deliberative assemblies shall be widely established and all matters decided by public discussion. 2. All classes, high and low, shall unite in vigorously carrying out the administration of affairs of state. 3. The common people, no less than the civil and military officials, shall each be allowed to pursue his own calling, so that there may be no discontent. 4. Evil customs of the past shall be broken off, and everything based upon the just laws of nature. 5. Knowledge shall be sought throughout the world, so as to strengthen the foundations of imperial rule.